Hey friends, it's Michael Kostroff again with another thought about auditioning. And I don't remember if I've made a video about this before, but even if I have, it bears repeating. I want to talk today about why co-stars are so hard for actors. Why co-star auditions and even playing co-star roles really, really hard. You haven't imagined it. It's not just you. They're fucking hard. And I'll tell you there are a couple of reasons why. The big one is this. We don't train for them. We don't train for them in acting class. Co-star, unless you've taken my 5 and under class, and I'm sure other people teach that as well, but generally speaking, when you study acting, you don't study, hey, what time does the train get in? You don't study that role. You don't work on that role. It is not in your job description of what you do in acting class. You're looking for stakes and objectives and obstacles that sometimes don't exist in these roles. And so you find yourself going, I don't know how this stuff works. Don't know how to do it. Understandable. And the other thing is that they go by so quickly that it feels like threading a needle while you're leaping over a hurdle or pole vaulting and threading a needle at the same time. That it's like, how do I do this right? And then it's over. And so it's very easy to feel tense, self-conscious, and that it's over before you know it, and that it's hard to get any handle on it. This is going to take some coffee. So these are the reasons why, I'm going to have a few more reasons why it makes sense that they're hard. It goes so fast. And here's the other thing I figured out, because I'm very into the psychology of this stuff. So in some cases, co-star roles are roles that any professional actor, any professional trained good actor could play. And I think on a subconscious level, we think, well, why aren't they just picking someone? Why are they bringing us in or viewing our tapes? They must want some specific thing that we have to figure out. It's a test. It's a trick. And that's not the case. The fact is, there are a lot of actors on the co-star level, and the production is in a position of getting to shop a little bit, so they line up the choices. And it isn't that you have to do anything other than what this role does. I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. I keep getting other ideas, but you only have to be a choice. You only have to be one of the choices. That's all they're asking you to do. It's not a trick question, and there's not always some mysterious special thing that they're expecting you to add. I've talked before about the mythology of the bold choice. You hear from a lot of people, make an unusual choice, make a bold choice, do something that no one else would do. And that's a very, very dangerous suggestion. As actors, what you should always do is what makes sense, what feels honest, what feels right, what seems to serve the character's function in the scene. And making an unusual or bold or interesting choice in these smaller roles can really be foolish, because often the whole point of them is to be generic and not. I don't even want to say generic. I just want to say not unusual or special. And so a lot of the people that I've coached for co-stars, I have to pull them off of their very intriguing choice that they've added. They sometimes add intrigue that's not on the page in order to seem interesting and creative and like good actors. Like, I know this is the guy who scans people at the airport for security, but maybe he also just broke up with his girlfriend and is grieving. It's not on the page. It's not the purpose of that character in the scene. So that's a danger. And that comes from this idea of jazzing it up and making it interesting and standing out and showing that you're a good actor, instead of just being convincingly the security scan guy, because that's what we really want is somebody who we really believe is that guy. So they're hard for all these reasons. At the same time, when I work with people on co-stars, I ask a lot of questions, and getting clear about all these things does help us get away from this deer in the headlights. I've got to lock in a performance and memorize the line reading and make sure I repeat it every time. The more you can understand, okay, where am I going? Where did I, what did I do before? What's my job in the scene? I had an audition that I always refer to play a doctor, and I thought, I've got to go into the casting office and tell them what's in their chart, in their medical chart, and if I don't, they won't know. So I just did that. As opposed to trying to act well, get a job, trying to do it right. These are deadly, deadly motivations in auditioning. Trying to act well, do it right, or get a job are the antithesis of what we do. So while on the one hand you don't want to be Mr. or Ms. Method and get, have a whole big emotional, I shouldn't say method, but I mean add a whole bunch of intriguing emotional levels to your very simple 1, 2, 3 line scene. But at the same time, the more you can seep yourself in the atmosphere and what the job is like, and whether this is something you do every day or whether it's unusual, or sometimes a co-star is telling the cops someone just stole my kid, and so that is a whole fraught thing. So it's a case by case basis. I feel like I'm talking all around this. It's just something I get kind of passionate about because I think there's some weird thinking about the co-stars. By the way, I do think you should get coaching for co-stars if you can afford it, because they're hard. But if not, you should work with a friend on them and say them out loud a bunch of times. My advice on that, and this is something I do with my clients, give yourself some wrong subtexts and some wrong things like, do it like you're drunk, do it like you're hitting on the other person, do it like you just woke up late, things that just to shake loose this idea that you got to lock into a performance and repeat it. Just kind of loosen that up. Just try it really angry for no reason. That does help. But the main thing I want to tell you, this is not the main thing. There are several main things. Don't feel the obligation to make it unusual, different, or stand out. That's a mistake. Do the character's job. Meaning, if you need to check the meter, check the meter. If you need to, to write up a prescription, that's what you're doing in the scene. If you need to get some advice or answer a question, do that in the scene as opposed to trying to act well or get it right, as I said, or get a job. And wean yourself off the idea that there's some special particular thing they're looking for. They're just going to say, oh, that person seems like the Amazon delivery person. They just seem like that to me. I don't know why, they just are. Also, I'm sort of reviewing what we've talked about. Also, release yourself from the obligation that you need to make an impression on the casting office, or have them remember you, or show them that you can do more. Today, you just want to be the nurse. Today, you just want to be the shoe salesman. You just want to be the eyewitness, and just do that. And I think you'll have a better time with them, which, as I say, is always the goal. I want to enjoy the audition more. I knew there was something else I want to say about co-star auditions. Sometimes, when you're doing them really well, they feel like nothing. They feel like dust. They feel like bleh, oatmeal. Because of the fact that sometimes these roles are not special standout roles, it's not your story. You cannot always look to the co-star role for the kind of artistic satisfaction of feeling like I did good work, I did good acting. That doesn't always give you that. Those things don't always come in the same package. For that, you want to gather your friends and read a play. You want to work on a good Shakespeare monologue. You want that. It will not always come up for you in the auditions or in the jobs that are like small on-camera roles. A lot of times they just don't feel like much of anything. And believe me, by the way, I'm speaking from experience. I built my whole resume on co-star roles. So I do know from whence I speak. I hope this is helpful to you. By the way, one more thing. There is nothing wrong with the co-star role. Lately I've been listening to some actors talk about co-star roles as if it's like, community theater or some negligible thing. And remember, there's competition for co-star roles. They are cast meticulously because they want to make a choice that serves the TV program or the film. And employment as an actor, man, that's a very, very special thing. So if you find yourself in a position of playing co-star roles, don't be mad at it. That's a score. If that's where you're at right now, it's a score. That's all. I'm not adding anything else, I promise. I will be back next week with more thoughts on auditioning. Be sure to subscribe to these videos. On the registration page, you can get on the mailing list for Audition Psych 101. It is now available online as an online course. A lot of people have asked me about, when is it coming to your area? Right now, it's not, but it is available online, and it's a 22-part course on the psychology of auditioning, and with worksheets and stuff like that. So do check that out as well. And I'll see you next week. Be well.